Sleep deprivation, Team B, Psychology 340. Sleep deprivation, what is that? Sleep deprivation is a serious condition that occurs when you do not get enough sleep, which can affect anyone at any given time. But we are going to talk about your teens today. Now you might be asking some of the following questions. What are the signs and symptoms of sleep deprivation? Honestly, if you are sleep deprived during the daylight hours, possibly falling asleep in class, at work, probably from sitting too long at your computer, how will I know if my teens are getting enough sleep? Like this question and many others you might have will be answered shortly. Few parents and teenagers understand the importance of sleep. Having a healthy body and mind depends greatly on the amount of sleep the teen gets per night. An important factor involved in positive body and brain function is sleep hygiene. What is sleep hygiene, you ask? Sleep hygiene is the sleep patterns, habits, and behaviors of teens that promote healthy sleep. The daily activities that adolescents do, such as what they eat or drink, if they exercise, and how they schedule their time, have an effect on the amount of sleep they get. Healthy sleep hygiene is important for teens because sleep is fundamental to their health, growth, development, and learning. Good sleep hygiene is important because sleep is a basic human need that is used for the brain's development and learning. When a teen does not receive a good night's sleep, their bodies and minds will not function correctly, causing them to make simple mistakes. Acquiring a good night's sleep is important to the youth for some essential body and brain functions. Functions such as having sufficient energy and alertness for daytime activities, memory, the immune system, the heart, and the processes of the hormone systems. The effects of sleep deprivation on daily functioning on any given school day. Teenagers across the country stumble out of bed and prepare for the day. For most, the alarm buzzes by 6:30 or 7, after only 6 or 7 hours after they went to bed. Many students board the bus before 8 and are in class by 8:30. Many teenagers, as they reach puberty, become walking zombies because they are getting far too little sleep. Sleep deprivation in teens can be dangerous and lead to traffic accidents. It also affects students' grades and exacerbates emotional problems. Let's talk about the amount of sleep a teen needs to function better and be happier. Once a child starts high school, he or she should sleep 8 to 9.5 hours per night. Once the weekend hits, it is fine to let your teens sleep in and rejuvenate. Sunday nights should be around the time for them getting plenty of rest for the week ahead. Studies have found that only 15% of teens sleep 8.5 hours per night. Most only sleep 6.5 hours. Dim light can affect a teen's sleep, which can delay the secretion of melatonin during adolescent years that were in middle or late puberty. Yes, folks, it's time to put away those night lights your teens had as a small child. Lack of sleep causes overeating that leads to weight gain and heightened susceptibility to illness, which can lead to declined health, motivation, and achievement. Lack of sleep causes some problems such as memory loss, heart disease, diabetes, depression, a weakening of the immune system, and an increase in the perception of pain. So if you want your teens to perform better in school, be less grumpy, because who doesn't know a teen who isn't a little grumpy, right? Besides, a well-rested teen gets better grades, and that gives them a better chance of receiving a scholarship for college. Now, doesn't that sound good? A little less you have to spend out of your pocket, moms and dads. There are many possible approaches to ensure quality sleep in your teenager's life. Yes, it is not easy, as I mentioned. They're teens, but there are many sleep habits that can improve optimum health, learning, and living. First thing first. Talk to your teen about the importance of quality sleep. Then move on to the effects of sleep deprivation. Although your teen might not be interested in knowing such information, make it fun so that he or she will stay in tune with what you are trying to prove. I do want to emphasize, though, the importance of sleep habits need to be a cooperative effort. Parents can do anything and everything in their power to try and convince teens that he or she needs to get a reasonable amount of sleep, but cannot force him or her to sleep. The decision has to be mutual for things to have a positive outcome. To achieve good results, the environment that you discuss with your teen has to be where he or she is most comfortable. By now, you can provide guidelines and suggestions that encourage your teen to work out and take ownership of their sleep routine. From what you suggested, your teen will either take advantage of the benefits or suffer the consequences. Although many parents would prefer just to lay down the law and have teens listen, that is not always the case. Adolescents at this age want to be able to take charge of their lives and be independent. Working with a teen may not be easy, and compromising from both ends might have to happen. But find a solution that works, and the rewards will be worth it. The first approach that can be taken to encourage your adolescent is to make the environment that they sleep in friendly. What I mean by this is to have your teen rearrange his or her room so that it is comfortable. Having the room feel different is to reinforce the idea that a change is being made for the better. You might even suggest taking a trip to a yard sale or favorite store to pick up a few inexpensive items to give the room a personal touch. Giving your team free rein and encourage creativity to turn their rooms into a sanctuary that makes him or her feel soothed, relaxed, and ready to wind down. I do not know about you, but I like to get home after a long day's work and just relax. Well, this is what teenagers should feel like when they get home from school, especially on a stressful day. Another approach is to limit the use of television, phones, or video games. Since the use of any of the electronics requires that the teen stay awake, limiting plug-in time will promote sleep time. Yes, electronics are a teenager's world, but limiting the time will show teens the importance of sleeping. For example, have your teen pick up a time to say goodnight to their friends. Now, the last approach that I believe would help out all teenagers is to reduce stress. That is nearly impossible for many, I know, because I am always stressed. I was stressed even coming up with what I was going to say today. There's no doubt that school is exhausting, not to mention if your teen participates in sports, clubs, jobs, and other activities which are part of a teen's normal day. To help your teen cope with all there is to do, you can suggest rewarding themselves for surviving another day in school. Although rewarding may seem silly, who would not want to go out with friends or take a nap from a hard day's work? I know I would, and I'm sure the teen would also. Making the suggestion of rewarding themselves in whatever manner they deem fit will encourage them to cope, wind down, and rejuvenate. So in closing, remember, healthy sleep hygiene is extremely important as it aids in the brain's functions. Brain's functions include being alert, having energy, having a good immune system, and keeping the heart healthy. Healthy sleep hygiene also affects our memory, so the more sleep we get, the better our brain will retain information. The overall effects of sleep deprivation can be as mild as falling asleep in class or at work, but can go to the extremes of having an automobile accident, which is very high in teenagers. To get a healthy amount of sleep, we need first to make sure our environment is sleep friendly, such as closing the curtains and or blinds before going to bed, making the room dark. Secondly, limit the use of caffeinated drinks, television, phones, video games, pretty much any electronics before going to bed. Do not be afraid to give teens a reward for surviving the day by doing something relaxing. Thank you, folks. I hope this has been an enlightening podcast for you. Have a nice day.